Hey guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we have our last budget update for 2023. It is so crazy. It feels like time has gone so quickly this year, and actually I am thinking about whether I will continue doing these budget updates throughout the next year as well. So if you are still interested in me doing these updates, please do let me know in the comments below. If not, I may start to just do them maybe quarterly, or I don't know, I may decide to do something completely different. So please do let me know in the comments below if you do want me to carry on. But in this video we are going to have a look at our budget for November and see how we ended up spending our money, and then we're going to have a look at December to see how we plan to budget our money during the Christmas period. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we have the month of November up, and if you do like the look of this template, if you didn't know, you can also access this as well. So it does come with a net worth statement, a sinking funds calculator, and then you have the choice between a monthly budget template or a weekly budget template depending on how you get paid. So make sure you check that out if you haven't already. I will of course have that linked in the description below for you. But when we started off in November, we were actually doing very well. We had an underspend of about 34, which meant that in October we didn't spend as much as we had budgeted for, so we carried that money over to November. Then our income came in, and I do keep that blank for privacy reasons, but we were able to use that to pay out our savings and investments, our essential bills, and also our sinking funds. Now if you're totally new to my channel, I typically don't go through all of these details in this video. I will usually do it in the previous video, so make sure you check that video out if you want to know the ins and outs of all the numbers. I'll link it up here for you and in the description below. Well, of course, what we tend to do is go through the spending, and this is where we'll look at the details behind it and see exactly how much we ended up spending for the month of November. So if we have a look at our general spending, and this is more so discretionary spending or anything that may not be an essential bill, let's have a look at the first category. So we have transport under there, and we originally had a budget for 120, but we did go over in November and we ended up spending 140. So not a crazy amount over, but obviously that will have an impact on the rest of our numbers. Then let's move over to groceries. So we originally had a budget of 200 for groceries, and that meant that on average we wanted to spend around 50 a week. But this time we actually did quite well. We only ended up spending 177 for groceries instead of 200, which meant that on average we were actually spending less than 45 a week, which is great. And I think that was more so because of the types of food that we were buying. I decided to batch a really big pot of stew, which was really helpful actually, because stews don't tend to be that expensive. So I think that really helped us, because when I batched that, we froze it, and it meant that we could eat it multiple times throughout the month. And I think that's probably what helped us with our grocery bill this month. So I would definitely recommend doing big batches, big meals. Not only does it help you when it comes to time, because there are some times where I just cannot be bothered to cook and I just don't want to, so it helps there, but it also can help you save a lot of money too. So I would definitely recommend batching if you can. And if you're liking this video so far, then feel free to give me a thumbs up, as it really does help to support the channel, plus it's free. Let's have a look at toiletries now. And so with toiletries, we originally had a budget of 40 for that, and instead we ended up spending 36, so very close to the 40 mark, but just under, which was great. Next up we have our individual spending. So we allocated 110 each, and that's for us to spend money on anything that we like. And in terms of my spending, I reverted back to spending it all, because that's what I usually do. Again, I never know how much Yinka spends in a month. He doesn't spend a lot of money. I have no idea why. He tends to save a lot of it. I don't know what he's saving for. I literally have no idea, but you know, that part is his money and this part is mine. So I can't judge, I can't say anything. But yeah, with the amount of spending money we had this month, I pretty much spent it all. Next up, we've got personal care. So we allocated 30 for personal care, and we ended up spending 30 on that category. If we move over to date night, we had an original budget of 90, and that also includes takeout as well. And for this month, we went slightly over. So we ended up spending 99 instead of 90. So again, not a drastic amount over, but you know, a little bit over. Then we've also got our 2 gym memberships. So that was $42.98 and that's a direct debit. Disney Plus, we paid $7.99 for that. Miscellaneous, we had a budget of $35, but we went slightly over this month as well. We ended up spending $36 for miscellaneous. And then after that, we also had Yinka's rugby game, so that's another $45. And we did have some loose change, so we added that to our pennies pot. And so if we ever have any loose change, because we do use a zero-based budget method, if we've got any money left over, we will add that to like a small savings pot, and then yeah, we'll just let it kind of grow over time. So as you can see, the total was just over $838 for spending. However, when it came to our overall budget, we went slightly over, just slightly, by about £3, which actually isn't that bad. But to be fair, if we didn't add the extra change that we had to our pennies pot, we would have been under budget. So I'm going to consider that as a win, but we will put that we overspent by £3 in our next budget, and then we will budget from there. So let's have a look at December and see how we plan on budgeting our money then. Okay, so let's have a look at December. And December, our spending is slightly changed, especially because we are heading into the Christmas period. So I'm going to talk about that more later on in this video. But in terms of the budget, obviously, as I mentioned, we started with £3 being over budget, and so we included that in the budget, and then we also included both of our salaries. So first of all, we use that to pay our savings and investments, and that's something that we will typically pay first because it's really important to us, and I absolutely love the principle of paying yourself first, so that's what we do. And so for this month, we ended up saving $1,000 and put that into our savings, and then we also have another 50 each going into our investments. So in total for our savings and investments, we are looking at $1,100 for the month of December. Moving on to essential bills. So our essential bills doesn't typically change very often. We've got $11.50 going into rent, about $52 going into water, $117 for electricity and gas, council tax is about $136, broadband is about $26, iCloud is 99 pence. We've got our SIM only contracts as well. So for Yinka's phone, it's £12 a month, mine is £10 a month, and we both use Voxy. So if you're looking for a SIM contract deal with endless social media data that really is quite affordable, I think, this is very cheap, then make sure you do check out Voxy. I will leave a link in the description below for you. And then we also have TV license, which is $26.50. And after that, we have our tithes, charity, and giving. And so especially as Christians, giving is just like non-negotiable for us. Whatever our income is, we will always give a proportion of our income, because at the end of the day, it's not our money, it's God's money. So yeah, that's why we put it under our essential bills, because it is essential to us. Then let's have a look at our sinking funds. So again, these are expenses that you anticipate will come up, and so you just want to start preparing for them in advance, just to make it a bit easier for you, rather than having to pay, you know, something out of your paycheck. So for us, we have a sinking fund for car maintenance, and so we pay $50 a month for that. We did have a sinking fund for the dentist, but we currently don't have to put any money at the moment because we have enough, so that's great. Then we also have another $10 going to my husband's rugby registration, another $15 going to a pot for clothes. So if there's any times in the year that we want to buy clothes, we want to make sure we have money sitting in the account for that. Another $30 going for presents, so we want to make sure that we have enough money, especially if we decide to buy any Christmas presents later on in the month. And then another $10 for skincare, and then another $40 going towards weddings, because we do have a few weddings next year, and so we want to make sure that we are prepared for them and that we don't feel broke every single month when we have to buy something. So in terms of our sinking funds, the total this month is looking at about $155 for the month of December. Okay, so let's move over to our spending, and this month we're going to be spending a bit more, I think, just because it's the Christmas period, and we realized that we're going to be quite busy during this month, which Honestly, I'm quite surprised at, because last year I don't think we were that busy. I don't think our budget even changed that much, but this month seems like a really busy month, so that is reflected in our budget just to make sure that we're realistic again. So when it comes to transport, we have allocated 125 for transport, so hopefully that will be enough during this period. For groceries, although we did spend less last month, we've decided to keep it at 200, just because again it's going to be the holiday period, and for us, obviously if we're going to be at home much more often, we most likely will eat more often, so we just want to make sure that we do have enough for groceries. So we've got 200 for that. Toiletries remains as 40, and then our spending has slightly increased as well because we probably will be going out a bit more often for the month of December. So we have allocated 130 for this month, and so although actually we would have been saving a little bit more, we usually save like 1100 each month. Although we won't be doing that this month, that's okay, because from next month we're not going to be going out very often, because you know, no one really typically goes out very much in January, apart from my birthday, because my birthday is in January, so I may go out once, but I think early next year we won't be going out as much, so we'll definitely be able to save a bit more. Then we've got personal care, which remains as 30. Date night, we have slightly increased that again because of the holiday period. During the holiday period I don't like to cook very often, so I would like to just enjoy it a little bit more. So we've allocated 100 for date night, and then our gym membership is a direct debit again, so that's $42.98. And then you can also see with Disney Plus, we no longer pay $7.99 for that, because we decided to get an annual subscription and we took that out of our sinking fund pot. And the reason why we decided to do that was because we knew that Disney Plus was going to be introducing ads, or if you didn't want ads you would have to pay a bit more, and we didn't want to do that. So we decided to buy an annual subscription just before that happened, so we end up paying the same amount, if not less, whilst also not having to watch ads. So I'm very happy we did that, so that's not going to be something we pay for a while. Then after that we've got miscellaneous, so we've allocated 40 for miscellaneous, and then of course we still have my husband's rugby game, so that is another 45, and we had some loose change again, so we have added that to our pennies pot. So as you can see, the total is definitely more than last month because we are going to be spending more, but I think that will then start to reduce come January because we'll be at home much more often. Now, if you are someone who realizes that you struggle sticking to a budget and that's actually stopping you from actually being able to save money, maybe you're saving up for an emergency fund, or you're even saving up for your house deposit, and you feel like you might need a bit more support, make sure you do check out my one-on-one coaching, because what I've been able to help all of my clients do is save more money so that they can start working towards saving up for their house deposit, and also other big things like an emergency fund or a wedding or anything like that. So make sure you check that out if you haven't already. What you can do is just book a call to find out more about working with me. So I'll link more information up here for you and in the description below. But I am still happy with how November went, and I'm looking forward to December, although it is going to be a busy month. I hope that we have allocated a decent amount for that, and so hopefully we'll also be able to stick to December's budget as well. So if you did like this video, then please do give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments, are you planning to spend more in December? I do post every Tuesday, so if you would like to know more, then of course you can subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week.